folks. This is a re-recording because my equipment messed up on me. I just wanted to say a few words about the Democrats' confession. They say confession is good for the soul, although I don't think that is exactly what the Democrats had in mind when they wrote their Time magazine article confessing all. And apparently it is a consensus among them that it's okay to confess all now that they are safely ensconced behind their walls and barbed wire. And that's the thing, the criminal mind just cannot go without bragging about their achievement. It's just something in the narcissistic, psychotic mentality that they are cunning and clever, and everybody must know about it, must know about how hard they worked. They want a pat on the back for achieving their crime, essentially. And they're in a position where they feel they are unassailable and no one will hold them to account. And I said, ordinarily this would be very damaging because it's damaging internationally as well. First, let's look at how it's damaging to the home front and Americans. Essentially, that confession gives the green light to any legal entity, any firm that would be willing to, press charges. It's essentially it's a confession. So, what need we of evidence? Of any more evidence? We've got it. So they believe they are invulnerable, and for the moment they may be. But what about down the road? What about down the road? Is it not possible that conservatives or someone who's stronger could get back into power and then use this as a springboard to bring them to justice? Of course they could. But that's the thing about the left. They are so arrogant and so sure in their irresponsibility that they burn all their bridges. They just, think they won't need anyone ever again to help them. They just throw everybody under the bus and burn their bridges, and are completely confident in their power forever. And of course, I said, not to mention, legally confessing undermines their position in general. Like I said, of course, the law enforcement's not going after them, and neither are the legal firms, so they think they're safe from them. It also undermines their position in general with the Americans, because a lot of Americans already felt that things were not as they should be, and now they come out and tell everyone. So that means even more people. Now it's not even a matter of questioning the election or a matter of questioning the process. It's a fact. And so this extremely weakens their position and their authority, because now what people are going to say when they go try to enforce any of their rules, they're going to say it's illegitimate, they admitted it themselves, and we don't have to listen, that there's going to give rise to secessionist movements everywhere. But here's the thing, they're counting on the people not fighting back, not having courage, not having guts, because they haven't for decades, so why should now be any different? However, the people are now faced with a fight for survival. They've lost everything. They're no longer busy with bread and circuses. They're losing their jobs. They've lost, so many things. Lost their freedom, lost their speech, lost their freedom of travel, lost almost everything. And they're gonna, I think, fight harder. So I think the left will be surprised in the end, because the people are getting upset. There's going to be some struggling. And don't forget, in a couple of months, the poop is going to hit the propeller. And I say the poop hit the propeller because of all those executive orders and things. It'll be time for them to be implemented. And what are the people going to say, especially now that they have completely confessed their own illegitimacy? Just ridiculous. And the people are going to, I said, rebel. And I said, once again, the Democrats don't think that the people will. And But yeah, so they have won round one. They have managed to pull off winning round one, and that is taking the White House. And they have signed all their little papers. But that's only round one. Round two is going to be how much authority they can command, especially after that stupid confession. Why would you confess? Especially so quickly after 1 month after you pulled it off, you confess. If anything was going to undermine your position with anybody who still thought you were honest, my goodness, you really undermined your position, Democrats, and it was a very stupid move. I guess they feel they're in a position of power where they can just really flog people into obedience, and the anything they say, any confession will just be, like I said, it's just their bragging, and people won't do anything. Now, internationally, there's also a problem because confessing this is pretty much an open invitation for invasion by any other foreign power, because the foreign power is going to say, hey, they just admitted it. So now why should the foreign powers want to talk to the administration? Why should they respect it at all? They just sent a message to the foreign powers that, hey, that we pulled this off, and their position is extremely weak and extremely vulnerable. So it's not only a security issue at home, it's a security issue internationally. But these stupid Democrats, they do not care about anybody's safety. Their loyalty is to their pocketbook. That's where their loyalty lies. Their country is themselves. Their country is Nancy Pelosi. Their country is Chuck Schumer, and they are very loyal to their country, which is themselves. So, yes, Americans have a rough time ahead, and I think it's because we didn't stand up for our rights for years and years before it got to this point. I said we needed conservatives to have their own activist groups, needed to fight for what you believe in. Instead, freedom has become an umbrella for depravity, and nobody would stand up to the left. It was really depressing. And I said I don't like it that the people are in a position where they are powerless. I said we needed direct democracy, a court of the people. We need a higher power, because the left has just consolidated every branch of government and on their side, and they're oligarchs, and they think they will never be moved. Yes, the people have ceded every ounce of responsibility and every ounce of their power to these representatives. We laughingly call them representatives, who are just in it for themselves. And I said, if the representatives had to stay at home more often, then they might be better people, but when they get far away, they forget about anybody at home. I said if they had to come home every weekend and were met with angry citizens who were locking them up in the county jail for betraying the people, I don't think they'd be so quick to betray everybody. But for sure, we need a complete overhaul of the entire system. I was thinking of it this summer, even before, it's just America in general. It's even before Trump. And even if he had won, we still need to go through massive, massive changes. America has been off the track for a long time. We need to be working on our values, American values of independence, self-reliance, pioneer spirit. We just need to be working on them. And so many programs we have are socialist and communist programs, and we shouldn't have them. If we're going to have any programs, they need to be based on the American values of self-reliance, independence, and all those good things. I said we cannot just allow communist and socialist programs to continue, or at the very least, something as a stopgap. But this way, it gives people the illusion that communism and socialism is workable, it's a viable option, and it really isn't. We have loads of unaccountable politicians, we have loads of welfare programs, banking systems, everything is funneling in to give the government more power and the people slave status. There is, in the beginning of the Disney Cinderella, it talks about how the stepmother took away Cinderella's rights. Okay, if I can remember how it went, it said, the father died, and as time went by, the chateau fell into disrepair, and the family fortunes were squandered by the vain and selfish stepsisters. And while Cinderella was abused, humiliated, and finally forced to become a servant in her own house. Sound familiar, anybody? The American people have been abused, humiliated, their fortune has been squandered, and they are finally being forced to become servants in their own country. So, we have a lot of work to do, a lot of restructuring to do, a lot of everything to do. I considered, becoming a bitter recluse. I have moments where I feel depressed, and people like Tim Pool say, oh, Democrats want to have drone strikes on Americans. I'm like, you know what? I consider my resistance fairly mild. But if it's the point where I'm going to be struck, droned, then I guess who wants to live in a world with people like them? But I believe there are going to be other people standing up. They already are. But I said things are going to, really start, push come to shove is going to start here once things start going into effect. And I don't know, I think a peaceful divorce might be a good option, at least for some people, some groups and areas, but the people need to get their power back. The people need to be in charge, not a group of bureaucrats. I said our system, we have been trained to just let everybody take care of us, and that is a recipe for tyranny. And that's why everyone's so low in pioneer spirit, in fight, in courage, in beliefs, in values. Everybody's low in it. And we need to get back some stuff we believe in, and we need to fight for things. And of course we'll resist smart, and we'll be peaceful as we can be. And pray that together we will be able to work through this. My mom says, oh, it's the end of the world. Well, hey folks, it's not the end of the world yet. We're still here, so as long as we're here, we must try to fight for a better tomorrow. So let's keep the faith and do what we can and focus on the American Reconstruction. And the Reconstruction will not include Washington, D.C. and its swampy politicians. So, keep the faith, keep praying, and we'll have down days. We'll definitely have moments of discouragement, but hang in there. Don't stay down too long. Okay? God bless. Let freedom ring.